Hello, welcome to another weekly video. Um, I apologize for being a little late. I'm not sure if anybody watches my videos religiously, but usually I try to do them Saturday or Sunday. And excuse me, um, ever since I've got pregnant, I have a lot of trouble with being tired, and I'm especially struggling with having trouble with my blood pressure lately. So that makes me get out of breath easily and things like that. So if you notice anything a little different, that's all that's going on. I'm just not feeling the best. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about addiction, and I guess the hot topic of, is addiction a disease or not? I know it's kind of been something that was established about maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I can't remember when that idea first came about, but addiction is a disease. Um, and you know, I do kind of understand what people are trying to say when they say that. Unfortunately, I don't know about time period specifically, but I remember when I grew up in my home, it didn't seem like there was a lot of knowledge about addiction at the time. Um, I'm just gonna say late 80s, early 90s. Um, with the millennial generation and younger, there's been quite a bit of information that's come out about addiction um, and abuse and things like that. So, but there didn't seem to be a lot of information back then when I was younger, and I just remember me and my family. Well, my dad was addicted to drugs. He was addicted in a extreme way. I believe it was crack he was addicted to, and he would sell our belongings, and he'd be gone for days at a time and things like that. So he had an extreme addiction, and my mother, my sister, and me would stay at home. We would be at home while he was out using drugs, and it was just really confusing time because like I said, there just wasn't a lot of information about that kind of thing. Um, if there was, my family didn't know anything about it. Um, so we kind of just viewed it as, well, I remember all of us kind of viewed it as my dad was, um, a, like, we understood that he was addicted, but we didn't understand that he couldn't stop at any time. A lot of us just thought that he, um, if he loved us enough, he would stop using drugs. And so, that gives you a lot of bad feelings, like constant rejection. Don't get me wrong, like, um, you're still going to feel rejection when a person is addicted to something, because they still put all their time and energy into it. Doesn't matter if you consider a disease or not. It can still destroy families. So there was a lot of confusion about it, and really not, excuse me, sorry, um, not really any patience or understanding for him. Um, but to be honest, knowing the things I know now, I don't know if it would have been much different. Especially as kids. I mean, we didn't have any way of probably behaving differently, but uh, excuse me, sorry. But I guess, like I was saying, maybe around 2000, maybe a little earlier, but um, I remember this whole idea of addiction as a disease, and um, I kind of agree with that in some ways. It is something that can be a lifetime. It's something that you need to treat like it's I mean, I guess they could say like cancer or whatever, just um something really serious that a person has to deal with. I think I just struggle um with a lot of people, like, accept that it's a disease and don't really think that it could change. Like I think I was watching something the other day and they were talking about how, even if you get off drugs, you still have the disease. And you have to be careful that, you know, um, let's say you've been clean for 30 years, because it's a disease, you could still get addicted to drugs again and end up in a situation where you're using drugs again, like 30 years later. And like, I understand what people are saying by that, but I have a hard time accepting that myself. Like, well, not that it's impossible. I do think a lot of people will have that problem forever. But with the things that I've learned about addiction and disease, it's there are things that drive you to the disease that I feel like you can um, you can correct, even if you want to say through God. And maybe it's not everybody. Like I said, I know it's not everybody who could see the problems that drive them to their drugs and change it. But I do believe that if people can really see what's driving them to drugs, that they can change it, and it doesn't have to be a disease necessarily. Um, I think it's fair to say that, you could still have stressors that drive you to um, some of the bad behaviors, like drugs. Like for example, for me, I was, I guess I'll say, addicted to. I'll just say I've had a problem with porn for many years. Once I opened that door, I just became attached to it. I struggle to use the word addiction because I've actually seen people much worse off than me, but maybe that's fair to say. But you know, I, I was able to take steps and stop using porn. Like, I still have stresses that sometimes tempt me into it again, but I feel like one day I won't have that issue anymore. But I think what people are trying to say is like, once you open the door to something like drugs, or porn or whatever, anytime you get stressed, the same level of stress that drove you to drugs or whatever it is, um, it could still come back into your mind as something you want to do. Um, I guess that's what people mean when they talk about it's a disease. Um, it's just hard to imagine always struggling with that particular problem. Like I said, I want to believe um, that there are actually deeper things that drive me to porn. For example, um, like for example, I have a lot of um, I guess, like, wounds from growing up with my family, and if I can get those healed, I don't necessarily think that I'll still be driven to the same, the same problems that I've struggled with in life. I've struggled with anger, probably addicted to it, because that's what I saw growing up in my home. But I have to believe that I don't have to have that forever, you know. But it's also okay to accept that this is part of your history. That's something I had to do with porn. I had to accept that I just had this problem, and it is going to be something that I struggle with a lot. But again, I'm hoping that, one day it it doesn't come into my mind as a temptation anymore. It's you know maybe I remember it, but that's the only reason I struggle sometimes with the idea that things are a disease. Um, you know, sometimes it's okay to accept that this is a lifetime problem you have, and sometimes it's not. It can sometimes like cause you to um, embrace a curse if you feel like it will never change. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I thank you for watching. Have a nice day.